Okay.
So when he starts over, I'm just gonna be like, yum!
Yeah, yeah.
I probably
Yeah. You probably won't, but it's funny to say that.
yeah.
Yo.
Sorry to interrupt, but I just thought of that when I was watching.
No, you're
the
totally
last
right.
one.
I'm gonna interrupt Ben to be like, yum!
Welcome back to the Oklahoma Today podcast. I'm your host, Ben Lucian, and if you're watching this right now, that means the Oklahoma Today podcast has made it to 2025. Yes, please clap. Mom, I told you we would make it. We're a big deal online. We're going to celebrate this milestone with a special interview with none other than Tab Singleton, the chef behind the legendary Phat Tab's Barbecue in Idabel. We were lucky enough to have Tab as our guest chef on our now sold-out March 1st event, The Feast at Stuart Ranch in Waurika. We'll hear from Tab here in a moment, but first a friendly reminder to please hit subscribe if you've not already done so. It's the best way for us to keep that 2024 momentum rolling. So now let's bring on our full team here. How are you all feeling today?
Excellent. Optimistic.
Yes. We're down a member. We do not have Nathan today.
Yeah, Nathan is sick.
Nathan is sick. What do we think? Is it Ebola, bird flu? Do we have any idea?
I think it is a terrible cold.
Yes, it does. He does sound quite sick.
Yeah.
Nathan, we hope you get well soon. Hopefully you're well by the time you're seeing this. We're recording this a few days ago.
Yeah.
Yes. Do we have, this is the first episode of 2025, so do we have any New Year's resolutions that we're working on?
My New Year's resolution is to have more fun.
Have more fun?
Yeah, even when I'm doing things that I have to be doing, I want to incorporate fun elements into it. Like when I'm at work, listen to pleasant music and things like that.
That's a good one because so often resolutions are we impose this punishment on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
They're never fun. It's always something I've got to just tighten up right here.
No, I need to figure out my life.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a big
I
one.
like that one. Well, that sort of leads us into our question of the week, which is about travel resolutions. I asked, where in Oklahoma do you want to visit in 2025? I guess we can go ahead and start with Kirsten, research editor Kirsten Stone. Do you have 2025 plans yet? This is not 2025 when we're actually recording this. I know we've still got some time to figure it out.
I don't have any plans actually made yet. I don't know where I'm going. I'll probably go back to the Wichitas at some point to go hiking. I want to go back to Sequoia Bay because it was so pretty out there when we went.
Sequoia Bay. When did you go out there?
Like October.
Okay. Nice.
It was so nice because the leaves were changing and everything. It was just the perfect weather. So probably want to go back there and then I don't know, some new restaurants.
Nice.
I want food.
I mean, you can always count me in for that. Are you going to be going back to Anadarko?
Probably. I probably have to, yeah.
Yes. To see your family, of course, whether you like to or not. Photo editor Megan Rossman, do you have travel plans?
Yeah, I would like to actually use my state park stay this year in 2025. I have worked here for a million years, and I have never used... I go to the state parks, but it's always for work. And I'm like, what would it be like to experience a state park and not have to be working? That would be so nice. And so some of the parks, I would like to go to Greenleaf or Sequoia or Lake Wister maybe and stay for a couple nights, or go back to Robbers Cave, that I love that park, and stay there. So I'm looking east this year. I want to stay in the trees in a cabin and just not work.
Not working is always a great resolution. I'm plotting my return trip to Greenleaf because probably
I've never been there.
Probably 7 or 8 spring breaks in a row. My family went there, so I've got a lot of history at that park. But I know it's changed since I've been there.
Yeah.
So I need to see the new Greenleaf.
I know it's supposed to be so pretty, and yet I've never been to that park, and I'm like, it needs to change.
Yes.
So.
Well, I have a bunch of great memories from there. Carly, you used your park visitation this year, right?
I did. Just not too long ago, I went to Lake Worcester and stayed in a cabin, and it was really fun. I had no idea or I'd forgotten that they do the lights on Worcester Island, and so we were staying like in the lights, and it was really fun.
Wait, you stayed on the island?
Yeah, we stayed on the island in a cabin.
I didn't know there was a cabin on the island.
Yeah, there's several cabins, and one of the one we stayed at is ADA accessible. It's cabin number
that's
1.
Cool.
Wait, hold on a second. How does one get to the island
how do you
cabin?
get to the
you have
island?
to take a boat?
No, it's there's a
bridge?
bridge that goes, and it's not technically an island.
It's more of a peninsula.
Yes, but they call it an island.
Okay.
Yeah, but the cool thing about it is no matter which window you look out of on your cabin, you can see the lake because it's on both sides. So.
Yes, it's very narrow. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was really.
There's
a really
probably
great
6 cabins.
I think so, and then there's a bunch of
tent sites.
tent sites and RV camping spots as well.
Are all the cabins on the island?
No, there's
Okay.
some that are like by the park office, which is like when you first come into the park.
And those ones have just these beautiful, like, high up views of the lake and everything.
Yeah.
It looks like you're just kind of on the edge of the world.
I don't know that there's a bad place to stay at Lake Worcester.
It's very
I
picturesque.
agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, for my answer, I have this, I guess, sort of quasi resolution where I'm trying to like go out on a hike like for once every month.
Nice.
I used to like hike a lot
that's
more,
a
and I'm
good
trying to get back
resolution.
into that. I don't know if I'll actually keep that up.
Are you gonna do the first day hike?
I don't know if I'll do that or not, just because of like other obligations that I have on the first day. But probably later in the month. So I'm planning like Sequoia, Great Plains would be nice, Robbers Cave, yes.
Quartz has some good hiking.
Quartz.
Some of it is
I've
a little
done some
challenging too.
Good hiking at Quartz before.
Yeah.
I don't know how far I'll make it into the year with this goal, just because the summer months do get a little challenging.
Yeah.
I kind of want to steal that resolute. Like, I want to do that too. Like,
I'm gonna hold you to it. I'm gonna ask you, have you taken your hike for this month?
you
Well, we can be
and then I'll
we can
get
be
mad.
accountability buddies, I
Yes.
guess. On Chris Cam, Chris, do you have any travel destinations for 2025?
I think it's very vague, but I just want to go to a bunch of state parks I have not been to.
Yeah.
What are some of the
Yeah,
ones you
I
haven't
don't
been
know. I've never been to Greenleaf.
to? Okay,
And
Greenleaf
so
is
yeah.
beautiful.
No,
Yeah.
and we have so many pictures of it, and I'm like, they're beautiful.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
why haven't I been there?
Yeah, and there's some in the east and southeast that I haven't been to. I can't think of them off the top of my head. Some of them I've driven by or driven through, but not really got to stay. By the way, Ben,
Yes.
allegedly, well, not allegedly, Chad told me Talamina has great trails at the Talamina State Park.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, there's no cabins. It's just tents only there, whatever. But allegedly there.
Yeah, you can talk to Chad or Tori to give me some tips
Right.
on trails.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Best
because
trails.
the Washita National Trail starts there. Is that where it begins? Is right by
The one that goes into Arkansas. or
into
whatever?
Arkansas, yeah. Because
You
I
know
walked
what?
on that. I didn't walk into Arkansas, but
Yeah, I don't know. Our scout troop did that one a long time ago, but I don't know where it started.
I'm pretty sure it starts at the state park.
Okay, that's cool.
Hopefully,
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
not.
not doing that one, but I'll go to the park.
Well, we did have a couple of answers online. Preston Lee said, really looking forward to visiting Reva's place in Atoka.
Nice.
nice.
Get the strawberry shortcake.
I haven't been there yet, so that needs to be added to my list.
I got chicken fried steak when I went there. Oh, the green beans, chicken fried steak, and potatoes. Like, it was so good.
I mean, sign me up, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Really.
Yeah, they had good fried chicken there.
And then Marvin Hawkins said he listed several places. Red Earth, OKC, First Americans Museum, McGee's Indian Store in Anadarko, and Exhibit C Gallery.
Nice.
So, yes. All great places. I haven't been to Exhibit C in a while, so I need to go back there.
Yeah, I really like. They have a great gift shop, which I'm
They do?
always very alert.
Yes.
Well,
about when it comes.
Do
to
they still sell the bedray stuff there?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, and people can also add Okana to their list because it's going to be opening in 2025, right?
I believe that's right.
Yeah. So that'll be a huge destination,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
And we will have a story about it in Oklahoma Today this year.
We will. Yes.
Written by
Because
Megan Rossman.
How do you know that, Megan?
Right,
Just
she
kidding.
left that part out.
Well, one place that wasn't mentioned, but I do definitely need to check out in 2025 is Phat Tab's Barbecue. So let's go ahead and hear from Nathan and Tab about all the good things they've got going on in Idabel.
So we're here with Tabb Singleton in Idabel, Oklahoma, the genius behind Phat Tab's Barbecue. We're so excited to talk to you. Also, Tabb's going to be joining us at the Stuart Ranch on March 1st for the Feast at Stuart Ranch, and you can find out more about that at our website. But we're so excited to talk to you today, Tabb. Welcome.
Welcome. I'm glad y'all came down.
So, you and I have been talking about food forever. I've been covering your restaurants for at least a decade. I'm a huge fan of your food, but tell me about your first memory of cooking, when you really remember, this is the first time you really remember cooking.
Yeah, there's always two memories that I always come up with.
Yeah.
But the very first one that got me hooked was it had to have been a Thanksgiving. My dad, he just got done building this little smoker it's not really a smoker, but it was a single barrel, a 55-gallon barrel.
Mm-hmm.
He cut the bottom of it out, made a lid on top, and he cooked a turkey. And for our Thanksgiving, he did turkey and a ham. And I remember I was little, running around the backyard. I'm trying to always into stuff when I was little. But I loved fire, and that was my thing. I could sit there and watch the fire. I was how it moves and everything else. And of course, I got scared and thought I was going to be a pyro the rest of my life because as much as I love fire. But just the smell of everything. And I tell everybody thinks that they laugh at me, but I can literally smell when I'm out in the smoke shed sometimes. Just a certain whiff of smoke, and it just shoots me back to that day. Which
That's
is pretty
amazing.
cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, cooking wise, that would be that.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, following my dad and my uncle and all them while they're out there cooking around, sitting around,
Yeah.
drinking cold beer, having a good old family Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And then, the other one that projected me a little bit more, and I tell everybody if I was to die and they asked me what my last meal would be, it would be my mom's New Year's Day. We say lupper because we always eat in mid-afternoon.
Yeah.
But like I said, my dad will do ham, and then Mom, she'll make her scratch cornbread, collard greens. We'll do fried salt pork, and it's just a good. Those memories are like family food together with all of my family.
Yeah.
Those are what started everything. My love for cooking.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, what was your first job in a kitchen?
Oh, first job in the kitchen. Let's see. Actually, Chef Hung at AJ's here in Idabel.
Uh-huh.
His name is Chef Hung. I was looking for a job, needed a job, and I knew I wanted to get into cooking.
Mm-hmm.
And this is right out of high school almost. And so I started working for him, and it was Asian inspired restaurant. So I got to learn how to cook on walks and see a bunch of different things that he used, from soy sauce and finally. A lot of these ingredients that I was never raised with.
Yeah.
Because we were meat and potatoes, and then come summertime, we were strictly cold items and vegetables.
Yeah.
And, because Dad always had a garden, but I got to learn a bunch of different things. And I always joke around there, but I was like, I went cultural food first before I even stuck with American food. 'Cause I left there, and then I went to work at Papa Bolano's, was here in Idabel. And so I started working. They started doing chicken fried steaks and hamburgers on their menu. So they hired me to start doing steaks and chicken fried steak. It took me maybe 2 weeks. And then next thing I know, I was over there cooking fajitas and burritos, and I just wanted to learn everything.
Yeah.
And then the cool thing about watching them, I tell everybody, the cool stuff, even working at Chef Hung's and working for Papa Bolano's, was not their daily menu. It's things that they cook for their families and parties and things like that.
Yeah.
The food was totally different. And it was for me, I was like, wow. As first, when I was at Papa's, it's the first time I saw a whole goat basically being broke down and cooked and basically like lard, like you're making carnitas.
Yeah.
The first time I ever seen that, and they built a little fire and had it sitting in the back of the restaurant and just sitting there slow cooking all day. And then that night, you know, they invited us set up, and this was for a 1-year-old birthday. And so it was, yeah, I mean, it was like free beer, free air, and it was a huge blowout party. And I was just
Wow.
like, wow. And so that I fell in love with, like Mexican style food, was with Papa Poblanos.
Yeah.
And then Chef Hung, that got me really with Asian inspired food and like all those different cultures and stuff. But those were the first two that I ran with. And then I went to a Bendigo's.
Yeah.
And I was up at Bendigo's for a good while. Helped them and with
Famous
that was more,
up in Ho Chi Town. Been
was
there
more,
forever.
yeah, that was more steakhouse style.
Yep.
They lost a chef, and so I came up there. And then when I was up there, that's when I decided, I was like, you know what, I may want to do this cooking thing for real. So, and not saying we weren't doing it for real, but that's when I decided. And one of my friends told me about going to culinary school, things like that, like that. And so off I went to culinary school, went to OSU Tech. I didn't finish. I wish I did. But that summer I came home because when my dad worked at the lumber mill, they had a work program where you can go work for, if you're in college, you can go work at the lumber mill to make money for college. And so I worked out there. Well, that summer, one of my friends offered me a job. This is when fiber optics were first coming in.
Oh,
and they
wow.
started laying line and all that. I was like, you know, and then when they say you're going to be making $19 an hour laying fiber lines and work maybe 4 days a week, I was like, all right, sure.
Yeah.
So I did that. So I moved to Dallas and started doing fiber wires.
Wow.
And things like that. Well,
Detour.
it didn't take much because around that same time as everybody's bidding on these contracts for all this fiber, next thing you know, crash.
Oh, yeah.
So lowest man on totem pole gets cut. That would be me. So I knew I had cooking on my resume.
Mm-hmm.
My brother just got a new coaching job, and he was moving, and so I was like, well, maybe I can rent your house, which he stayed in Norman, Oklahoma, which I was like, okay, diehard Center fan, I'll go find a job. And so me and a couple of my friends, we moved into my brother's house, and I started working at a bar and grill. I don't know if I don't think it's the same thing anymore, but it's called Champions.
Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah,
called
yeah. I know
Champions
that
Bar and
place.
Grill.
Yeah, yeah.
Started working there, and that's where I met Ross Crane
Okay.
for the first time, and now he's doing a lot of great things in the city. Worked there for a while, enjoyed everything, just had fun, and you know, we worked like crazy there, and I learned more about bar style food. But I wanted to learn a little bit more, you know, about what was going on. So then I saw that they were hiring in Tulsa, and I had family in Tulsa. I was like, you know, I'd go over there and check it out. So I got a job at Polo Grill. So that was my first time of seeing white tablecloth.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's...
Huge wines. Yeah. And, you know, Mr. Robert, I'm glad that, you know, he came in, let me learn a lot of stuff. And I was there for almost a year or so. And then I was like, man, what is there out there? And that's when Food Network started getting big.
Yeah.
So Emeril came on, Bobby Flay came on, and I was like, who are these people? And then, so I started finally, you know, watching them. I said, you know, it'd be cool to go work for one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So for shits and giggles, I just put out a resume, started putting resumes out, and I sent them to New Orleans. I sent some to Bobby Flay in New York.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, I'm going to get out of Oklahoma. Just because at the time, Oklahoma is nowhere near the food scene like it is now.
Right, yeah, it's changed a lot.
It was steak and potatoes, and it was nice steakhouses and, you know, lobsters and things like that.
Sure.
It wasn't nowhere near like it was now, and I was like, you know what, I want to go learn some of this stuff. And I got a job offer, and it wasn't to any of the ones I really wanted to go to. It was at the Ritz-Carlton in St. Thomas. So I was like,
no.
I was like, that would be good.
That sounds terrible.
I could vacation every day. And I was about 2 weeks away from signing to move to the Virgin Islands to go work at the Ritz-Carlton. And this was right after Katrina and things like that. And Chef Michael Roos, we all call him Paw, and that's what he told me. He said, just call me Paw. I was like, all right, I'll do it. He gave me a call, and it was with Emeril's second restaurant, Nola, in the French Quarter. And so we talked, and he saw on my resume that I put barbecue competitions and things like that, and there were local stuff, and which they really don't do them as much as they do now. And he's like, man, I just want to talk to you about your barbecue. He said, I love barbecue, this and that, and I want to get into it. I was like, cool. And so our first phone interview was like 20 minutes, and we just talked about barbecue. And I said, yeah, one day I want to do barbecue, just not right now. I said, it's one of those things that if it's going to end, I'm ready to go do barbecue.
Sure.
You know, because that was my first vivid image of food was barbecue, and that's how I want to end it, is with barbecue. And so we talked. And then he said, well, let me know if you're interested about coming to New Orleans, and just call. So just that conversation stuck for me about 2 more weeks. So I was like, I'm going to give him a call just to see. Yeah. And they said, can you come down and I'll give you a tour of everything.
Yeah.
So I called my mom. I said, well, I think I'm going to go to New Orleans. Never been. Barely been out of the state of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And so we load up. And, of course, it's a new thing. My sister jumps in. My mom's going. So we go down there, and we knew that Katrina just came through.
Yeah.
While we were going into the French Quarter for my job interview. And we go through National Guards to go through it because I had to explain where I was going. And then you see guards and police at almost every corner during the French Quarter. And it's all, here's my mom looking at me like, what are you doing? And so we get up. They let me out. I go talk to Chef Michael Roos, and as soon as I walked through the front door and I saw the table setups, the big nice glasses, how everything, it was open kitchen, and you can see everything, and the elevator was pretty cool too. We had an elevator that goes to all 3 floors of the restaurant. Okay. But he did me a tour and went to the butcher shop, went up to the bakery, and I saw that they did everything from scratch, and I was like, I didn't even really have to finish the tour. I knew I was like, I'm going to. So he said, well, hey, do you want to go over to the big guy's restaurant? And he said, you want to go over to the Emerald's the first one. So he took me there. And then at the time, we went to Delmonico's, which is on St. Charles. Went to Delmonico's, got to meet everybody. And we came back to Nola, and he said, well, I love your attitude. You're eager to work, and that's what we want right now is people that want to learn. I said, I'm all about wanting to learn. And I said, I'll work 80, 90 hours if you let me. And they said, well, you'll be able to get a lot of it because, Katrina, a lot of people were gone. Mm-hmm. So they needed workers. And so I found my apartment and everything else. I was like, I'm probably going to have to need 90 hours a week to pay for everything. But we got there, and he said, just you let me know if you want to go work at Emerald's, you want to go work out here. He said, I can get you on it.
So you just had your run of the place wherever you wanted to go.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
He said he'd give me a job at any of them, and I said, well, you're the one that took the time to show me around this and that, and came home, put in my 2-week notice, and then about a month later after that, or about 2 more weeks after that, I finished my 2 weeks, moved back to Idabel, dropped some stuff off, and I moved into my apartment with a blow-up mattress, a camping chair, a fold-out table, and a TV. That's what
what else do you need?
No. I didn't, because I knew. I told Mom, I said, I'm just going to be working all the time.
Yeah.
And, get used to everything. And then, so started working, and they weren't lying. I was able to get the hours I wanted, and I got blessed with wanting to learn and everything else. And, I got the opportunity. They had an MIT program, what they call management training, and I was there about 6 months. And then they promoted me and another guy to that. So once you got into MIT, I got to go to the butcher program.
Yeah.
I got to go to the bakery, and then I had 10 years down there for about 10 years, and then
that would have felt like just drinking from a fire hose of information.
Yeah.
Like, what was there a moment? Because I have to imagine that was intimidating. There has to have been a level where you were like, "Oh, good Lord, what have I gotten into?"
I was nervous at first because coming from Oklahoma, and you see, like a lot of the cooks at the time, it's like now restaurant turnover is so crazy.
Yeah.
But they're like, I've been here 5 years, I've been here 6 years, that, and they're just ripping, and we're doing 300-400 covers for dinner service, and you got a 12 burner, and they're just, I'm like, every place I've worked at, like, you got a bar and grill, which we did some cooking, but a lot of it's microwavable stuff. It's Mexican restaurant, you prep bulk, and then so everything's for speed.
Yeah.
Here you're making everything to order. And I was like, geez. So I was nervous, but except that's one I always tell everybody. I was like, you ask me a bunch of questions, I may not remember it. And I said, but if you show me, and I'm more hands-on, and then I picked a lot of that really quick.
Yeah.
And I said, if I ever come back to Idabel or try to do something again down the line, I said, it's going to be barbecue. I mean, I'm going to do barbecue.
So what made that? And now here we are.
So
what made that happen? COVID.
Yeah.
Brought you home.
Brought me home.
Wow.
We got a phone call and it said, hey, we're going to shut down for about 2 weeks. And this is the week of St. Patrick's Day, 2020.
Mm-hmm.
We just did a big massive order because the big parade comes right down by the restaurant. And they're like, we need you to go up there and do hurricane prep. So we call it hurricane prep, where we take everything meat-wise, we double wrap it, this, that, and we'll try to store it all into the freezer so we don't lose all the meats and everything else. And they said, we'll give you a holler at least 2 weeks. All right. So I was like, we got 2 weeks off, and not really knowing how COVID was, what it was. We sit there, we hung out by the pool, we cooked out every day, and then we saw it getting worse and worse and worse in New Orleans. And then that's when they told us, well, we're going to hold off for a couple more months. And I said, okay. Yeah. I said, well, I'm going to go back. And Emeril did, cool thing about Emeril, he did keep us on management, things like that, and some of them, a lot of employees. Kept paying for insurance, kept paying for on payroll, everything else.
That's really good.
And so I was like, I'll go back to Idabel, just hang out for about a week or so, and then I'll come back. And so I drove down here because I looked on the map and they had little red dots where it was bad, where it wasn't.
Yeah.
I said, man, there's too many trees in Idabel and pine for it. And I said, it looked free and clear. I said, I'm going to go home for a week. Came through, I saw this building wasn't open. And like I said, it's always been a burger.
I was about to say, you said it was always a burger place, right?
Yeah. So I came through, hung out, went back to New Orleans just to check on everything, and called Wilson, our chef Wilson. I said, hey, do we know what's going on? They said, Dad, he said, we just decided it's going to be October.
Oh my gosh.
And he said, but he said, we'll give you 1 more month on help you out. And after that, I keep waiting till October because a lot of the fine dining restaurants, no one was opening. Everybody shut down. And I was like, I could probably go work at a fast food restaurant. But the restaurant industry was just hard, because everybody shut down, not knowing what's going to be. And there's that. So I said, Mom, I got to come home. She's like, what do you mean? I said, I'm not going to have a job until October. And I said, cooking's what I do. And I said, y'all don't seem like anything's going on in Oklahoma right now. It seems pretty clear so far. And she said, well, come on, we'll figure it out. So I was like, came through, and I saw that I was bringing the trailer home. Me and my nephew moved back, and I saw that this was still closed. And I was like, hey, this was May, 1st of May. And so I was like, I'm just, I don't have anything to do right now. And, Emeril's still paying me a little bit. So I can call the man and find out who owns it, whatever. Called the landlord and said, no, they're not going to open and do anything. And so my wheels started turning because with my chop money, I bought a smoker. I bought a big trailer smoker because I was going to, there's a big event they do down there called Hog for Cause. So I was like, I'll buy this and we'll do a Hog for Cause every year and have a good time. So I had a smoker and I saw this, I had a drive-through window, and I was like, man, we could probably go in there. So I called the landlord, asked how much it would be per month, and he said, well, if you do this, clean up the logs, it was nasty here. Whoever was in there before me, or just, and so we did whatever cleanup we could, best that we can to get it up and running, and then we changed some things decor-wise, and I got the smoker, health department came by, checked us off, and we opened July 4th weekend. Was our first weekend open.
Wow. How was that?
The first day we opened, we sold out in 30 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Before we opened, there was little, because we had the drive-thru.
Yeah.
So the parking lot was full, and then there was a line of cars waiting to pull in all the way down here to the stoplight.
Oh my gosh, Tab.
Yeah.
What did you think when you saw that? After everything you'd been through at that point, especially here.
I was excited. I really was. I was like, this is what I've been wanting for Idabel. Just bye-bye. And it was like that for a good week. Just everybody trying out the new space, this and that, this and that. And so it was great. It was great. And, barbecue's what it's something I've always wanted to do, and I'm going to do it. And like I said, if this doesn't work out, then I will be done with cooking. This is my last rodeo. If anything, I'll go into consulting or
you won a James Beard Award, Tab. I don't think this is in danger of not working out.
Well, that's what's crazy is that they say location.
Yeah.
We had a good run.
Yeah.
James Beard.
Yeah.
For about 3 months there. And it was rocking and rolling, but it's just the weather of restaurants. You have your ups and you have your downs. And with us not being populated like a bigger city, it's, you like right now, this past month has been horrible slow for us.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. So, it's, you win some, you lose some months right now.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy. And it gets frustrating when you see these accolades and you see people from everywhere around Idabel saying how much they love it, and then you're just like, hey, what can I do to get more people in here locally? And what we figured out, a lot of it is locals, and not to say they want to get pampered or anything like that. They want a place where they can come in and have a server, best things like that. Well, see here, we don't need a server because we're so small.
Very small place,
And then, a lot of people, they don't like waiting in line if we have a big line.
Yeah.
And, it's little stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like I said, we're trying our best to figure something out to where we can expand and get out of here to cater to that side of things.
Yeah.
And things like that. But because right now we're only open 3 days a week. And, we've changed our hours up just because our Saturdays got really slow.
Yeah.
And so I started booking events outside of Idabel.
Okay.
And so we've been doing a bunch of events in Idabel. Outside of Idabel.
Like
weddings and things like that.
Yeah.
And we went and did a tailgate for the OU Texas game. We did another tailgate somewhere else. So right now we're just Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and we open at 10:30 a.m. until we sell out.
Okay.
And so we've adjusted some cook times and different things like that. Really, because it's right now I'm doing all the cooking. It's between me and my sister right now.
Oh my gosh.
And then we got some helpers.
Wow.
Yeah, and then the helpers you mainly come in when we open. That's right.
That's amazing. What time do you say people should get here if they want to make sure they get like at 10:30?
I would say if you want full menu, 11:30. But we do pre-orders every day at 8 a.m.
Oh, okay.
You can call and reserve your meat because
that's
usually
great.
it's a coin flip. Like how we get if we get hit, and I say when we get hit, if there's something big going on at Hochtown, that's when we're busy.
Okay.
If there's not really tourists around, we're a little bit slower.
Okay.
So we're heavy-handed on tourism.
Yeah.
And but by 11:30, if you're just coming and you don't do a pre-order, 11:30 you'll have from 11:30 to 12:30 you should have everything.
That's amazing.
Now after 12:30, brisket usually goes.
Yeah.
Then ribs and then just everything. Specials are always the first thing to go.
Yeah.
And like I said, we set a number. We only try to do like 30 of them.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people here. I mean, locally, if you do too many, that's all they'll get is a special. They won't get anything else.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like barbecue is one of those types of food, actually maybe even more than any other type of food, that people have such strong feelings about barbecue.
Yes.
Why do you think that is? What is it about barbecue that inspires this like intensity?
I have no clue. I really don't. Because there's people that are just like, no, this place is 10 times better than this place.
Yeah.
And me personally, I can go eat at all these other barbecue restaurants, taste them like, man, that's really good.
Yeah.
And it just, I guess their type of how they taste that barbecue, they're going to stick with it.
Yeah.
So it's hard to differentiate from other people. Now, like I said, our ribs, most of our barbecue we try to do.
Group or device named All Nights.
Yes.
Alexa, shut up.
That's all.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
That's staying in. That's going in video.
Well, it's like if you compare like Texas to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Everybody that's from Texas going to say, no, Texas barbecue is $10. You get people from Oklahoma that say that Texas barbecue is better.
Over the summer, I was in a conference in North Carolina. I went to college in North Carolina, and there were some people from Texas there that I knew, and I was like, "Hey, do you guys want to go try some North Carolina barbecue?" And they shouted me down so hard that I was like, "You need to settle down."
Yeah.
Like, it was the most intense moment.
Yeah.
Like, they were not going to
Texas.
try North Carolina barbecue from hell or high water. It was not happening.
Texas is they're hardcore about their.
They were insulted. I suggested it.
Yeah,
Like,
and I wish we could get to a point where Oklahoma was like that. Like, you go to a lot of these other barbecue places, and there's like lines out the door.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Burnco and all them do things like that. It's cult following almost with barbecue, and I don't know if people respect that you're cooking something for 16 hours or what, but they will. They'll like, and I love it when tourists come in here because they'll get the big full spreads, this and that, and I mean they'll come up, man, that was so good, man.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. And we get it all the time, like, you need to be in the city, you need to be here, and I'm like, well,
I mean, I would eat there a lot. I'm just saying.
but like I said, there's something deep down at me and that I want to create something here in Idabel to where, you see like the Lamberts when people throw the rolls and everything.
Yeah.
I want to be a spot where you come into Idabel and, where I can say, this is where I'm going to run Idabel, this and that.
Yeah.
But I want it to be like a tourist place.
Yeah.
But, that's what I want. I want it not just for me. Yes, it'd be great for me, but something for Idabel. Just say, look what we got. We got this place here in Idabel. Everybody comes to, and this and that. And,
Absolutely.
And plus,
I know I tell everybody if they're coming to Hochatown, they got to come down here.
oh, and we get that a lot too.
Yeah.
And then, with the accolades and everything that we have gotten over the past couple of years, especially with the James Beard, I try to tell everybody, I was like, man, that's great. I said, but I love it. But I've never been one to get excited about a lot of things.
Yeah.
Everyone else says, man, why are you always a Debbie Downer? I was like, I'm always the what if guy.
Yeah.
What if this happened? What if this happened? And so my big thing is like, it's good for us, but it's also good for the city or town to get more eyes on Idabel, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
People like never heard of Idabel. And then now they're like, oh, there's James Beard. So people call from New York when we got the James Beard. Say, hey, we're driving from New York. We're going to fly into Tulsa and drive down. I said, wow, okay.
Fly into Dallas. Fly into that. No.
Just because I saw that.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that's really cool.
That's awesome, though. That's like, that has to feel good, though. Like,
oh, it does. It does.
Like,
and like I said, with all the work, and I'm rapping stuff about wish, locally wise, we could have a stronger presence.
Yeah.
Things like that with more locals. But it's hard sometimes to get in here.
Yeah.
And it's hard with the hours that we're in. And like I said, we're mainly lunch now.
Yeah.
If not all we are. And like I said, it's going to take some time, but we'll get there to where I want to open up more days.
Yeah.
And, but to do that, I need making this is it.
Yeah.
That's
the whole setup.
It's
right
like
back
a
there.
food truck is what we're working
I mean,
out
it's
of
not
almost.
much bigger. You're right.
No.
Like, yeah.
So,
Wow.
but we pump out a lot of volume out of this little kitchen when we get hit and
Like, how many pounds of meat a week are we talking here?
a week. On average a day, if I heard that. Average a day, we're close to, I would say, sellable right now, like close to 300 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
Close to that.
Wow. So coming up, closing in on 1,000 pounds a week of meat.
Close, yeah.
Oh my
Close
gosh.
to that.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So, this is a controversy in the barbecue world, and I want your opinion on it. Rubs, sauce.
Me, I'm no sauce on anything.
No sauce on anything?
No.
I feel like that might be the right opinion. I
Yeah.
don't
Now,
know. I'm not.
we do like our ribs. Well, we do put a little bit of a glaze with our
Okay.
ribs, but mainly we do simple rubs here.
Okay.
We don't get too crazy with. You see a lot of these competition style rubs and things.
Yeah.
With my main components: salt, pepper, granulated garlic, granulated onion. That's it. And
I
then,
cannot believe you just gave that up. That is insane.
well,
I've
I
never
can
met a barbecue cook before in my life who would even give that much.
Oh, I'll sit here and tell you. I will tell you how I do it. This and that, and everything. And just go get after it. You try it for every day for.
Yeah.
It's hard to maintain, but it all depends on the wood.
Okay.
Depends on your smoker.
Okay.
And so, I
The real key.
can tell you what my recipe is. And so you got a pellet smoker. and then you go cook it, and then we come cook here and taste it. Mine's going to taste different almost every time.
Sure. Yeah.
It's just, different things about it.
Yeah.
And there's other little additives that we do.
Okay.
Take root here and there.
I won't ask. I'll keep those secrets to yourself. You mentioned earlier, you were talking about your nephew, and you were talking about Chef Philip. It sounds like mentorship is a big thing for you. It sounds like you've mentored a lot of younger chefs.
Yeah, well, I've gotten lucky, and like I said, my little bud, my nephew, like I said, he was working here, and he just now started full time. He just had a little baby girl, and so he just started full time doing cabin catering.
Oh wow,
So-
in Hochatown.
Yeah,
That's a good
So
deal.
he's been slowly getting more and more over the past year and
Yeah.
stuff, and I had the little girl. The hours here were a little bit different, and trying to do both, and
Yeah.
And so I told him, I said, why don't you try full time? Do you think you can? And he said, well, I think I can. If I manage my money right, I think I can. I was like, well, we'll go for it. So he said, are you sure? And I'm like, I said, but it's your life. That's not me. I mean, you go do what you want to do.
Yeah.
And, and I said, anything happens and you get in a rough spot or whatever, you can come back here anytime you want.
Sure.
So yeah, he's doing really good with cabin catering, and he does more on his cabin catering. He does more like fine dining style. A lot of Now people will say, "Hey, can you do this for me?"
Sure.
But he usually tries to set up like 3-course meals, and try to jazz it up and things like that. So he's doing really good with that.
I've heard that's becoming a big thing up in Hochatown, is bringing
It is.
catering.
Well,
bringing
there's a
chef
lot
out.
of the problem is right now is Hochatown gets flooded so much.
Yeah.
It's hard to get into a lot of these restaurants.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are just saying, "Oh, just bring the restaurant to us." And
Yeah.
so
That's a good idea.
they stay hooked up. And they're, him and I think probably about 6 or 7 other ones. We do events up there all the time.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Weddings, and that's the big thing is cabin weddings.
Oh yeah, I bet.
And so and it's funny, you get a lot of these people from Texas and everywhere else
Yeah.
wanting to do a cowboy wedding. So they want to do barbecue with cowboy weddings and everything else. I was like, I can do it. Let's do it.
Texans, they're so cute. You talked a lot about, you started at an Asian place here in Idabel, you went to a Mexican place. Is there a kind of cooking that you haven't done that you want to try, that you're curious about, or that you wonder about? Or do you
I
just
would
feel like
love-
you've done it all at this point?
No, if I could and I could ever get away, I would love to go work in Chef Andrew Black's restaurant.
yeah.
I would love that.
You should call him.
I slowly got into some of molecular style there when I was in New Orleans. We were messing around with like smoking guns and dry ice, and
Yeah.
towards the end before
Yeah.
I left to come back down here, and I loved that. And then of course researching, and you see Noma, watching
Yeah,
what
yeah,
Noma and
yeah.
all them doing. It's like, man, that is so crazy. I
Yeah.
would love to, just be a fly on the wall to watch all this stuff. Because if I could, that would be my second go-to.
Yeah.
But my thing is, what I'd like to do is, if I could ever get there, I would like to. Actually, I would love to partner with Chef Andrew Black, but I would love to take.
I'm going to find a way to make this happen.
Yeah, I would love his concept, but to do straight live fire.
Oh,
Like
we need to make
everything
this
over fire, meat, everything else, but more sophisticated plate up and using great quality.
Yeah.
That's my dream, because I'm a huge goal guy, so
Yeah.
that's my new goal is
Okay.
if I could ever get the barbecue steady going to where it was, and this, if I was ever to try to do something in Oklahoma City, that's the style I would do. It's just straight live fire.
I'm gonna
Big-
find a
big
way to
hurt.
at least make this happen as like a one-off event.
Yeah,
that we can do.
I'd love to do it.
We're almost out of time, but I wanted to mention really quickly. We were talking about it before the show, but you're cooking at Stuart Ranch on March 1st for our Feast at Stuart Ranch. We don't know what the menu is going to be yet, but we know it's Chef Tab Singleton plus Stuart Ranch Oklahoma beef,
We're going to
which we're really excited about. Yeah, we've got Hochatown Distillery sponsoring some of the liquor. We've got 8 Beer sponsoring the beer. It's going to be a really good event. I'm really excited. I can't wait. So go get your tickets. It's going to be really fun. Yeah. Well, Tab, thank you so much. I love
Yes.
your place. I love your. I'm a huge fan. I just think the world of you. I think you're the best guy around. So I'm always excited to talk to you. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, that was a great interview from Nathan, and I have to thank Nathan, who's not here, because he did that interview in advance, and it kind of gave me the day off, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was probably the most delicious interview.
Probably
in a
more
while.
delicious than any interview I've done so far.
Everything that guy cooks is amazing.
Yes.
So.
And I'm so impressed with how well the feast did. I mean, it's a sold out event. It's doing really well.
Everyone is in for a treat.
Yes. We probably need to start doing more events. All right, so now it's time for our favorite part of the show. It's podvents. This is where we go through the travelok.com event calendar, pick out a few of our favorite gyms. Anyone who'd like to go first this week?
I will.
Oh, Megan, thank you. I was worried I was going to have to volunteer.
One of life's great joys is naming things, I think. I love to name things. Boats in particular are fun to name. You have the Black Pearl, the Titanic, the Santa Maria, the Mayflower, and Sweet Circe. Those are some of the most famous ships today, even though some of them are not real. Unfortunately, I do not have a boat to name, but if I go to the Oklahoma Boat Expo on January 10th through the 12th, I could change all that because, in my case, who needs to rent a house when you can live on a boat?
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean, that would be fun. I'll have to go find a lake for it. For 3 days at the Cox Business Convention Center in Tulsa, more than a dozen vendors will display their finest boats and watercrafts for aspiring sailors to make their getaways to the sea and lake. So for more information on all these boats, you can go to okboatexpo.com.
And of course, the best boat name of all is Bodie McBoatface.
Yes.
That's the first name I thought of.
Yeah.
I found a boat name generator online, and I generated all sorts of terribly inappropriate boat names, and I had such a fun time.
Well, okay, yeah, I was going to ask you what your boat name was.
I can't tell you.
It sounds like it's not going to cut it for the podcast.
But Megan did get to name a wild horse one time. What? Do you remember that?
Yes, I named him
Storm King.
Thank you.
Storm King.
Which is the best name for a horse ever.
Yeah, he was beautiful. Yeah.
Good name for a horse, bad name for a boat.
Yes, that's true.
Or, good. He would conquer the storms.
That's true. He's the king of storms. Mm-hmm. Well, I've got my event second, and I have to say I love Mario Kart. Just don't ask me to play it. My reaction times, they're not anywhere near fast enough. Even when the game cheats to get me back into the fray by giving me some god-level power-up, I'll still find a way to squander it and finish towards the bottom of the pack. But I'll happily watch others play it all day. To the amusement of some and annoyance of others, I am much faster with a quip from the peanut gallery than I am on the controller. Similarly, the last thing anyone should want from me is to get behind the wheel at Shawnee's Outlaw Motorsports indoor kart racing event this week, because I can promise you my reflexes won't be any quicker in real life. But I will be happy to watch experienced drivers kick up dirt as they tear through the track at Heart of Oklahoma Expo Center. Running from Thursday, January 9th to Saturday, January 11th, the event features a variety of competitive races with top prizes awarded to the first place finishers. Just please remember to dispose of any banana peels in an off-track waste receptacle. Spectator admission is $10. Call 405-275-9780 or visit outlawmotorsports.net for more information. Yes, I can tell that you all are very impressed with that one.
I liked it.
Yes. Well, Kirsten, what is your event this time?
Every second Friday of the month from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., Oklahoma City's Plaza District hosts their exciting block party live on the plaza. Guests can wander the district and admire the works of local artists and listen to live music. The outstanding retail stores will be keeping their doors open late to celebrate, and you can even catch new events every month, like performances from Lyric Theater, View a Dead Center film screening, special holiday events, CD releases, probably anything you can think of, really. The Plaza District is located along Northwest 16th Street between Classen and Penn, and for more information about the district and live on the plaza, you can visit plazadistrict.org.
Yeah, they have a great variety of programming for that event. I don't know if the 2025 one is set, like their schedule is set as of recording this, but like you can always count on a good time out there.
Well, I mean, it's every second Friday of the month.
Exactly. Yeah. If you need something to do on a Friday night.
We went one time this past summer, and Little Mike and Funny Bone were there.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's always a good time
Yeah,
when
that
they
was,
show
that
up.
was fun.
It is a good time when
Yeah.
they show up.
Yeah.
Well, we might have to hear more about that later. Carly, what is your event this time?
We're going back to Shawnee for mine.
Oh, okay.
Lots of good things happening in Shawnee. There are many disparaging rumors about reptiles. For instance, snakes don't eat humans. They kill to eat, and the vast majority of snakes will never grow big enough to harm a person. Also, that whole story about the snake measuring his owner up to eat her is an urban legend that's been passed around for years. It is not real. Another erroneous assumption, snakes are evil. Reptiles may be very high maintenance pets, but they are no more villainous than any other creature. My friend's rabbits, for instance, just wreaked havoc on their house, chewing through electrical cords and stuff like that, and they're not evil either, so they're just
Usually.
mischievous, yeah. But my favorite fact is that snakes aren't just lizards without legs. They have an entirely different physiology. If you'd like to learn more about snakes, lizards, frogs, and other small critters you can keep in your home, check out the Herps Exotic Reptile and Pet Show, January 11th through 12th at the Heart of Oklahoma Expo Center in Shawnee. There will be thousands of animals for sale, along with all the supplies you need to take proper care of them. There also will be lots of educational opportunities and concessions for humans only. Admission is $10 for adults, and you can go to herpshow.net to purchase tickets or find more info.
Very nice.
That seems like a really cool event. I hope that I'm sure these pet sellers are being responsible and telling people that like this is a lifetime commitment. This is not just
Yes.
something that you decided to do at the last minute. So because you cannot release these animals into the wild,
No.
it is very bad for the environment. So
Harley, maybe
Yeah,
you should write
no.
us a feature about snakes like you did with bugs.
But
I
I'm
would be
sure
happy to do
Yeah.
that.
I like snakes. Like,
Uh-huh.
I'm sure it'll be a fun event.
Has anyone here had a pet reptile before?
I have. I had a knoll. I think a Knoll is what they are. They're little. They're just little
Huh.
green lizards.
I don't know anything about the moles.
It was so cute, and I asked my parents to take care of it when I went to camp, and when I came back, it was
Of
no
course.
longer alive.
Yeah.
So that was my last lizard experience.
Our son had a gecko when he was little,
Okay.
and he doesn't have it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll just
Yeah.
leave it at that.
They're hard to take care
Well,
of.
he was too young.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
We didn't know.
And
then things happened.
That's another big misconceptions about reptiles and amphibians. It's like if since it lives in a cage, people think, oh, it would be an easy pet for a kid. No, they are
No.
very high maintenance. They have very specific needs, so they're not great kid pets.
I had a
Yeah.
little frog as a kid, and
Now you
I
don't.
wasn't old enough.
Yeah, we had a frog that lived in our fish tank, and then it just wasn't there anymore one day. So I don't know what
Yeah.
happened to it.
Yeah, if you want to get an easier pet, get a hamster or gerbil, some sort of rodent for kids.
Well, that's why I'm giving this week's star of the show to Easier Pets. Also to Oklahoma State Parks, because I feel like pretty much everyone said an Oklahoma State Park for their
Yeah.
destination.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you go to an Oklahoma State park, chances are you will see some sort of reptile
Wow.
or amphibian
Well,
or
there
something.
you go.
And then you don't have to take care of it. Full circle.
It's full circle, exactly. Well, that does it for today's show. This has been the show known from here to Cheyenne, home of the Black Kettle National Grassland. As the Oklahoma Today podcast, head to oklahomatoday.com or pick up our latest issue on newsstands right now. Send your feedback to oktpod@travelok.com. And we'll talk to you again next week.
Happy 2025.
Get outside.
Get outside. Okay, actually, Megan, you start with the yum. That'll be like our segue. Back
Okay. Yum.
I don't know. That was not convincing. I'm sorry. That seemed a little sarcastic.
I don't know if I can do it. without being
Okay.
sarcastic.
I'll just start.
Oh, yum.